So now we'll talk about the text and sketch scale tools. Let's start with text. So just like simple 2D curves, you can also add text in Fusion 360 using this text tool. So I'm going to select the text here and I'll specify the plane on which we need to add the text, and then you need to specify the position where you want to add the text. Let's click this origin. All right, now you need to specify text not here but actually here in this text panel. So I'm going to type my text, well, Fusion 360. Now you can change the values like height or even angle value using these fields, or you can also change the angle from here if you want to. But in this case, I'll keep the angle at 0. You can make your text bold, you can make it italics, you can add an underline. We'll not do that. We'll just keep this bold formatting. You can also change the font. So we have all of these true type fonts here and also some shape fonts. .shx are the shape fonts or single line fonts which you can select for this. Shape fonts are the Autodesk fonts. Shape fonts are installed with your software, but the true type fonts, these other true type fonts are already available in your PC and they're installed with your operating system. So the fonts like Arial and all of these other true type fonts are the Windows operating system fonts. And if you are using Mac, then they are the native fonts of your operating system as well. So in this case, I'm going to change it to Arial. And now you can change the flip direction as well. You can just make it flip in the horizontal direction just by clicking here, or you can flip it in the vertical direction by selecting these options. Once you're finished, click on OK and you'll have your text. To modify this text again, simply double click on this and you'll once again have the edit text option, which you can use to modify your text. Now this text will also work like a 2D sketch and you can use it to make other modifications, like you can extrude it. And I'll show a very interesting example in this case. So I'll just click on new design and I'll first add a primitive, a sphere primitive. And maybe I'll select this plane right here. I'm going to add a sphere, a really big one. All right, now let's add a piece of text here. So for that, I'm going to go to sketch and text. I'll select this plane and we can add the text maybe here, and let's type the value. All right, I'll just move it using this grip and I'll move it maybe here. That's our text and I'll click on OK. Maybe let's just make it bold. All right, now we can click on OK and I'll stop the sketch. Now we can extrude this text and we can make engravings on this spherical ball. So let's do that. So I'll go to create and extrude. I'll select the text and I'll extrude it upwards. Now when I do that, you can clearly see that currently it will cut this sphere because it's right inside this sphere. It's finding the solid, so it's making a cut. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to join it or make a new body, you can do that as well. I'll select new body. We just want a new one and I'm going to move it upwards. And look at this. Now this is what you're going to get. In this case, instead of specifying a height, I'll select the sphere as a reference and I'll try to make this top plane identical to this curvature. And for that, in the extend section, I'll select to object and I'll select the sphere. And that's it. Look at this. So it will move it only up to this point. But this won't make any difference and you won't be able to identify it clearly. So to make it visible, we need to either move it a little bit upwards or make a cut. So in this case, I'll just move it a little bit upwards. And for that, we can add an offset value. So I'll just go to this offset and I'll change this value to maybe 3. Oops, I accidentally changed the degree value, which we don't need to change. I'll change the offset value to 3. Now that looks good, but we can maybe keep this value to 2. All right, now that's better. And I'll click on OK. And look at this. So now on this spherical shape, we were able to add this kind of engravings And we did that using the text tool, and this one is a completely new body. So you can go to bodies and hide the one that you don't need. So they are all separate. So I'll just hide my first body, which is actually this sphere, to show you what we ended up with. So we started from a plane, but we ended up with this kind of curve, which is along the circular path. And that's the text tool and one of its applications. Now let's talk about the scale tool, which is also very easy. And for that, I'll click on a new design. And now I'm going to make a very small drawing using this 2-point rectangle. And well, here is the rectangle, and let's add a circle. And I'll add the circle on this vertex. Now let's add a few dimensions. So D, well, let's make it 50 and let's make it 25. And for the circle, well, let's make it 10. All right. Now this one is a fully constrained sketch. Now after making this, if you decided to change the overall size of this drawing, then you can do that using just a single command, and that's the scale tool. In the sketch option, you can also change the total size by changing these 3 constraints separately. For example, if you want to increase the size of this object to 3 times, then you can change this value to 150, 3 times of 50. You can change this to 75, 3 times of 25, and you can change it to 30. But in that case, you need to do it separately. So in order to ease this, I'm going to now use a sketch and sketch scale tool. So I'll select this, and now you need to select these entities that you want to change. So in this case, I'll just make a window to include everything here. Now 10 objects are selected, and they will be scaled up or down depending upon your selection. Now click on point and specify a base point. The base point will remain fixed. In this case, I'm going to select this as the base point because this is the point that we want to keep fixed. Now the current scale factor is 1. Well, with a scale factor of 1, you won't notice any change, but we want to increase the size to 3 times. So you need to type a scale factor of 3. And now all the dimensions will change. Look at this, it just changed to 3 times. So this is now 150, this is now 75, and this is now 30 unit. If you, however, want to decrease the overall size, you can type any scale factor between 0 to 1. For example, a scale factor of 0.5 will reduce the size to half of its original value. You can see the preview of the original sketch, and we are now ending up with this, which is half of this original sketch. For 1/3 of the sketch, you can type 0.33 and so on. So to increase the size, add a value which is greater than 1. To decrease the size, add a value which is in between 0 and 1. Negative values are not allowed in this scale factor. So I'm going to now change this value to 3, and I'll click on OK. And here is our new modified sketch with the overall size thrice of its original value. Let's check it. So I'm going to type D, and here it's 150. And here it is 75, and here it is 30. So that's the sketch scale tool.